Hello and welcome. Tonight, eminent personalities, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, discuss the role of the country's elite in charting the path for Nigeria's development. 2.7 million invalid voter registrations deleted from INEC's register. Chairman of Commission vows to take every step necessary to protect integrity of the voter register. Federal government confers national honors on 450 Nigerians and friends of Nigeria for their contributions to the country's development.
On business news tonight, International Monetary Fund cuts global growth forecast for next year, warns that the worst is yet to come for the world's economy.
On sports news tonight, Germany defeat Nigeria 2-1 in their opening Group B match at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Goa, India.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control bans the importation of 4 suspected killer cough syrups for children.
And in international news from London, Ukrainian cities and infrastructure have been hit by Russian airstrikes for a second day, after Monday saw the most widespread attacks for months.
Which way Nigeria? This seems to be the question on the lips of citizens as the nation approaches another democratic transition. In resolving that question, Nigeria's elite have been challenged to reach a consensus on how best to drive the country's growth and development agenda. This formed part of recommendations from a conference organized by the Aigi Mokwede Foundation in Lagos today, where former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo emphasized the need for the country to work out ways of sustaining its gains. Our correspondent Timothy Crown Aderegbigbe has more.
With my chairman,
some of Nigeria's brightest minds coming together to discuss the way forward for the country. The Aigi Mokwede Foundation is spearheading this confab, which has former President Olusegun Obasanjo overseeing the brainstorming session as chairman.
On one occasion, I took about 40 upcoming African young leaders to Singapore when Lee Kuan Yew was still alive, and they were all anxious to get the recipe, to get the magic. And at the end of it, he said, "There's no magic." They asked him, he said, "There's no magic. We did a few things right, and we continue to do them right. No magic."
Economist and Professor of Economic Policy Stefan Dakon is a guest speaker. He dissects the country's potential vis-a-vis its performance in comparison with other nations of the world, particularly those it was on the same pedestal with in the past.
And we look around, for example, in South Asia, where after 2000, extreme poverty in South Asia began to decline as well, in countries like India, but also in Bangladesh, even in Nepal and places like that. And we see that these things are beginning to come down. And then we come to a kind of a situation where we are today, where 90% of the extreme poor people live in Africa. 90% of the extreme poor people live in sub-Saharan Africa, about 450 million. In fact, there are more extreme poor people now in sub-Saharan Africa than there were in 1990.
Professor Dakon explores why some countries have managed to settle on elite bargains favoring growth and development, and others, like Nigeria, have not. His suggested solutions include elite and development bargain, adaptation and not adoption of what works elsewhere, quality leadership, as well as self-awareness of how a state functions.
The recipe wasn't perfect. The recipe in each of these countries we look at it, they make errors, they make things and whatever. The ingredients were right, okay? But the recipe wasn't. And I think to get progress, it's not the issue of being lectured exactly about what to do and the exact small detail, the blueprint that needs to be designed. Actually, the experience tells us that quite a lot of different things Different strategies can actually get you progress.
Chairman of this gathering, former President Olusegun Obasanjo underscores the significance of the contribution of elite whom he maintains determines the progress or otherwise of any country.
I believe three most important things that we need to get it right, that we don't seem to have, apart from leadership, is some focal point, something that we can all hold on to.
The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, shares his takeaway from this interaction.
So today, if anybody is going to serve here, you have to have an all-inclusive government. Everybody has to be involved. In democracy, you govern by consensus. What you need in this country is to secure and unite the country. Bring everybody to the table with a sense of purpose that we are Nigerians, and that what we are going through concerns all of us. All of us have to work together.
The brain behind this conference, Mr. Aigboje Aigemokwede, promises that the conversation will not end in this hall, but will continue until it births development.
Let's just keep moving forward consistently. So that's what we've been talking about. It was a dialogue. We go to Abuja, we continue our dialogue with senior public servants, and we will continue this dialogue. And hopefully, maybe one day when you interact with me like this, I will tell you that that dialogue, somehow catalyzed a process.
The central theme of this conversation is the need for continuity, and of course, one not blindly done. Leadership, accountability, and unity of purpose are others. So while it winds down here, this convergence is expected to spark up discussion towards nation building and not to be the end of it. Timothy Crown, Aderibe, Channels Television News.
And talking about driving the nation's growth, British weekly newspaper The Economist says the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, represents a rare chance for Nigeria following what it considers as Mr. Obi's sudden ascent in national politics. In its article entitled Peter Obi, a man who carries his own suitcases, could be Nigeria's next president, The Economist describes him as an unlikely revolutionary. Part of the article reads, Mr. Obi's sudden ascent represents a rare chance for Nigeria. The country ought to be rich. It has huge reserves of oil, gas and other minerals, plenty of fertile land and a young population of go-getters. Yet Nigerians are poorer today than they were 10 years ago, and 40% of them survive on less than $1.90 a day. The article referenced three recent polls which put Obi ahead of the APC and PDP candidates and his influence among young people as a plus. However, it states that there is still much for the Labour Party candidate to do to get the required vote across the country, as the Labour Party isn't on the ballot for a significant number of other seats, especially in the National Assembly for the 2023 elections. It further explains that Mr. Obi's growing popularity due largely to perceptions of his character, but adds that while there is no guarantee that Obi winning the presidency will automatically address issues such as corruption, it will be the first politician in decades to show that a new sort of politics is possible in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the former Deputy Governor of Sokoto State, Mr. Mukhtar Shagari, is ruling out the chances of the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, winning the 2023 election. Mr. Shagari told Channels Television that he was among those from the north that the Labour Party approached to be running mates to Mr. Peter Obi, but he turned down the request because he could not see how the party would emerge victorious in the poll. According to him, the PDP and APC are the only two political parties that can produce the next president.
The Labour Party contacted me and requested if I would like or I would accept to be the vice presidential candidate to Peter Obi. And I look at I look at everything, the political scenario, what Labour Party is, and so on, the rest of it, and so on, and decided that I cannot be the vice presidential candidate Peter Obi. I do not see the path through which Peter Obi will win the election in this country. it is so clear that in areas in the southeast and so on, and young people are shouting about him on social media and the rest of it and so on and so forth. Yes, it's politics. But the truth of the matter is that there are two dominant parties in this country, the APC, the PDP. If you want to be the president of this country, I think you must belong to one of them. Now, coming to the issue of zoning, I have consistently made my position very clear about zoning. Zoning in itself is not a constitutional matter. The Constitution of Nigeria does not provide for rotation of power in this country. It was purely a party affair.
And over 2.7 million invalid registrations have been weeded out of the over 12 million new registrations conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, explains that this pruning is necessary for the electoral register of the registration fraud and irregularities. To read the electoral register of registration fraud. Now, Professor Yakubu was speaking in Washington, D.C. in the United States at the National Endowment for Democracy conference, organized alongside civil society organizations in Nigeria to foster credible elections.
Many citizens see the opportunity of the online pre-registration during the period of 1 year between June 2021 and June 2022, when that option lasted. And similarly, the physical registration continued simultaneously with the online registration for a period of 1 year, including a 1-month extension in response to appeal by citizens. At the end of the exercise, 12,298,944 citizens completed their registration. This is more than the entire voter populations in the Republic of Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Cape Verde. Sorry, Sierra Leone and Cape Verde put together. These are only new registrants added to the register of voters. We are such a huge country of great potentials. Now, we have completed the cleaning up of the data using the ABIS. We call it the Automated Biometric Identification System that combines the fingerprint and the facial authentication of registered voters. Those who registered twice, those who are underaged, or those who had no reason to register as provided by law have been weeded out. The exercise was completed a few days ago. We have not even shared the information with Nigerians, but we have 2.7 million invalid registrants. 2.7 million weeded out. We'll continue to take whatever step is necessary to protect the integrity of the register of voters, because it's fundamental to the conduct of credible elections. There can't be credible elections without a credible register of voters.
In part 2, after the break, federal government confers national honors on 450 Nigerians and friends of Nigeria for their contributions to the country's development. That's in a moment. You stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Eminent personalities, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, discuss role of the country's elite in charting the path for Nigeria's development. 2.7 million invalid voter registrations deleted from INEC's register. Chairman of Commission vows to take every step necessary to protect integrity of the voter register. Federal government confers national honors on 450 Nigerians and friends of Nigeria for their contributions to the country's development. Ukrainian cities and infrastructure have been hit by Russian airstrikes for a second day. And more disturbing details are still emerging from the flooding that has ravaged parts of the country, as no fewer than 500 people are said to have died and over 45,000 houses destroyed. At least 6 states along the River Benue and River Niger have been affected by the disaster. That's according to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Mr. Nasser Sani Guazo, who was addressing journalists in Abuja. He notes that the deluge has also destroyed over 70,000 hectares of farmlands across the country.
Early in the year, NIMET had predicted that some parts of the country will witness increased rainfall. Whereas so many communities have already been affected, there is still prediction that many more communities may be affected, especially along the lines of the River Benue, River Niger, and down up to the ocean. And it is on record that about over 500 persons have been reported dead. And also 1,411,051 persons affected or displaced, about 1,546 persons injured. Furthermore, 45,249 houses totally damaged, while 70,566 hectares of farmland are completely destroyed by the deluge. But suffice it to tell Nigerians that we are very much aware of what is happening, and we are prepared to reduce the impact, and we are prepared also to make sure that those places that have not been affected yet at least get some relief.
From that disaster to a more uplifting story, a total of 450 Nigerians and friends of Nigeria have been conferred with the country's national honors for their contributions to the country's development. Among the awardees are the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, and Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who were conferred with the second highest honors, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON. Addressing the awardees, President Muhammadu Buhari urged them to continue to do their best towards the development of the country. Our State House correspondent, Gloria Mizuke, reports.
Hundreds of distinguished Nigerians in various fields, government officials, private sector, creative artists and security officers, among others, converge on the International Conference Center awaiting the president's arrival. Out of 5,000 entries screened for the 2022 National Honors Award, 450 individuals emerged as winners. And so, for the last time in office, the president arrives to confer national awards to deserving individuals. 6 notable Nigerians are conferred the award of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON. They include the Deputy Secretary of the United Nations, Mrs. Amina Mohammed, Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, President of the Senate, Senator Ahmed Lawan, Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, among others. 55 Nigerians received the award of the Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, including the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, some justices and the Head of Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, service chiefs, and 20 traditional rulers in this category, among others. The late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru, as well as the late Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Abba Kyari, are given posthumous awards of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic. Intermittent cultural dance by Nigerian troops undoubtedly offers some respite for the president, who continues with the presentation of awards to 65 Nigerians conferred with the award of Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON, where several state governors, senators, and some senior advocates of Nigeria are recipients. 70 Nigerians are also conferred with Officer of the Order of the Niger, OON. Among the awardees are the Chairman of the Nigeria Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, and the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. After several hours, the President wrapped up the presentation with awards of Member of the Order of the Federal Republic, MFR, to 74 Nigerians, Member of the Order of the Niger, MON, to 55 Nigerians, and Federal Republic Medal to 8 Nigerians. President Buhari asserts that the awards is not merely decorative, but a reminder of what needs to be done.
I congratulate all the recipients today who will be joining the League of Awardees. I appreciate the non-Nigerian recipients and assure all of you that this administration will continue to provide the enabling environment for you to undertake your lawful businesses, as I stated earlier in my independence address to the nation. I will hand over a Nigeria that is free from insecurity to the next generation of leaders. Let me appeal to other Nigerians who are yet to receive this recognition to be patient and understand that their efforts in nation building are appreciated.
For the awardees, it is an inspiration.
This obligation is one of leadership, more and provision of inspiration to others as well.
I hope that together in commitment to this nation, we all continue to work together with our people across Nigeria to find the growth path that can take us to the Nigeria truly of our dream.
It's humbling, and I think it would challenge one to do more for society in particular, so that we can continue to impact our country in a much more positive manner.
Since 1963, over 5,300 Nigerians have been conferred with National Honours Awards, while 42 Nigerians have been conferred with GCON. The President now is confident that these awards will spur greater growth in the country and translate into bigger gains in the nearest future. From the International Conference Center here in Abuja, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Congratulations to them. And we take you to the courtrooms where the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has filed a 4-count money laundering charge against a former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State, Shupo Shashore. The charge was filed before the Federal High Court, which has fixed the arraignment of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria before Justice Chukwujeku Aneke for the 20th of October. Count 1 of the charge sheet says that Mr. Shashore, on or about November the 18th, 2014, induced one Olufolakemi Adetore in accepting cash payment of the sum of $100,000 without going through a financial institution. In count 2, Mr. Shashore is alleged to have made cash payment of the sum of $100,000 to Olufolakemi Adetore through Awalu Habu and Wole Aboderi. Now, in count 3 and 4, the former Lagos State Attorney General is said to have induced and also made the same cash payment of the sum of $100,000 to one Ikechukwu Ogwine without going through a financial institution. The anti-graft agency says the sums, which exceeds the amount permitted by law, constitutes an offense contrary to the Money Laundering Act. We're off to Abuja for more stories. Mark Bogun Yusuf, it's back to you.
Hello, Millicent. It's good to see you. Healthcare providers in the country may have to be on the watch out as the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is raising the alarm over suspected killer cough syrups for children. The products are promethazine oral solution, cofexmalin baby cough syrup, Macof baby cough syrup, and Maghrib and cold syrup. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, who announced a ban on the importation of the drugs in Abuja, explained that the regulatory body has not given any approval for the drugs in the country.
It is pertinent to know that toxic effects of this contamination in cough syrup include abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, inability to pass urine, headache, altered mental state, and acute kidney injury, which may lead to death, and indeed has led to many deaths in the Gambia. The details of these standard cough syrups again are from Maiden or include the manufacturer Maiden Pharmaceuticals, the product name promethazine oral solution, cofeximalin baby cough syrup, Macof baby cough syrup, Maghrib and cold syrup, and the pictures are also on our website on the alert page. All batches of this product listed above should be considered unsafe and dangerous. Again, these products are not registered by NAFDAC, therefore should not be in circulation. The stated manufacturer of this product is Maiden Pharmaceuticals Limited in Haryana, India. NAFDAC implores importers, distributors, retailers, and consumers and stakeholders to exercise caution and vigilance within the supply chain to avoid the importation, distribution, sale, and use of the substandard cough syrups.
In education, members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, are set to deliberate over the decision to call off its 8-month-long strike. ASU President Emmanuel Osodeke confirmed this to Channels Television today, although he did not say when the meeting will take place. The meeting comes after the leadership of the House met with the President and submitted its proposals and white paper, which it says will be favorable to both parties in a dispute. Professor Osodeke had said after the dialogue with the lawmakers that the strike could end in the next few days. ASU branches nationwide are expected to vote on a decision which will then be transmitted to the union's National Executive Council for final ratification. Still ahead on the news at 10, we'll have a little more on ASU. In the meantime, the International Monetary Fund cuts global growth forecast for next year, warns that the worst is yet to come for the world's economy. That's on Business News. Do join us again. Welcome back. 4 days after the Court of Appeal in Abuja ordered ASU to immediately suspend their 8-month-old industrial action, many federal universities are yet to reopen for academic activities. Our visit to some of the campuses in the northern part of the country shows that the university lecturers are yet to comply with the recent court ruling.
The meeting between the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, on Monday is the latest effort to find a political solution to the lingering face-off between the federal government and university lecturers. Although the outcome of that meeting seemed promising, nothing has changed 24 hours after the meeting.
Thank you very much.
It has been 4 days since the Court of Appeal in Abuja ordered the union to immediately suspend the strike. Our visits to some of the campuses reveals that academic activities are yet to resume. From the Bayero University in Kano to the University of Jos in Plateau State, the situation is just as it was 7 months ago when ASU declared strike. The situation is the same at the University of Ilorin in Kwara State and the Taraba State University. The campuses are a shadow of themselves, with empty lecture theatres. At the University of Abuja, where the National Secretariat of the Academic Staff Union of Universities is located, only non-academic staff of the university are on ground. When contacted, the president of ASU declined to comment on the development. However, a senior member of ASU who spoke anonymously says the union will decide on its next line of action during a National Executive Committee meeting, which it plans to hold during the week. ASU has been on strike since February 14 this year. After several failed attempts to resolve the impasse, the matter was referred to the National Industrial Court, which later ordered the lecturers to suspend their action, a ruling that ASU challenged at the Court of Appeal. At the hearing on Friday, October 7, 2022, the appeal court upheld the decision of the lower court and ordered the striking lecturers to immediately suspend the strike, a ruling which ASU is yet to comply with.
In other news, leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Chief Edwin Clark, is calling on the federal government to set up a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate the ongoing crude oil theft in the country. According to the elder statesman, the illegal activities are carried out by some highly placed government officials, oil companies, as well as security agents. Chief Clark notes that it is dangerously incredible that the criminal activity has continued despite the security arrangements put in place by the federal government.
Bunkering or oil stealing is part of Nigerian corruption, which has gone infested almost everybody. And we cannot continue unless something is done. Previously, the government officials, the NNPC officials, they all believe that the stealing of the crude oil, which was brought to the notice of Nigerians by the managing director of NNPC Limited, is worrisome to everybody. So, my appeal to the federal government, therefore, is that a judicial inquiry should be set up to investigate the activities of the bunkers or those who are stealing the oil. The Navy or the Army is not the only one. But the government officials, the NNPC official, should be investigated.
And that's all from Abuja. It's back now to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Maokwe. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, is estimating a 40% rise in Nigeria's public debt by 2024. This, according to the ICAN president, Mr. Tijani Issa, is due to the rising insecurity, persistent low production in oil. He was speaking at the 52nd Annual Accountants Conference in Abuja.
These chartered accountants have gathered from across Nigeria and beyond for their 52nd annual conference. The hall is filled to capacity as it seats thousands of participants.
How do we reinvent our plans?
The focal point of discussion here is how to harness sustainability, opportunities, and innovative tax. President of the Institute, Mr. Tijani Issa, attributes the declining economy to the country's dependency on imports, insecurity, and low production of oil. He proffers some solutions.
There is the need for our economy to revisit our environmental, social, and governance priorities. Nigeria should consciously deploy resources in creating the regulatory and infrastructural environments to encourage the transition to net zero business models by enterprises.
However, the federal government says it is committed to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and is counting on the body to ensure financial sustainability.
Nigeria is counting on your professional support to ensure economic sustainability becomes a national culture. The National Development Plan has advanced clear strategies to intensify the transition and drive towards financial sustainability.
Other speakers also speak on the dwindling economy and how it can be resuscitated.
Nigeria is yet to attain its best position in terms of economic prosperity among developing nations to report status. Therefore, more concerted effort is needed in designing and implementing innovative ideas to harness all the resources at the disposal of Nigeria.
We simply must change course, and we need to do so urgently. We cannot behave as if we can continue with a strategy of business as usual and hope that someone else will address these critical existential issues.
The theme for this year's conference, Adopting Sustainability for Economic Prosperity, is very timely, according to the Institute, as it hopes to explore emerging issues such as green economy, innovative tax, digital transformation, among others.
To some company news now. 28 people have emerged winners of various prizes at the just concluded Win Better promo of Lafarge Africa plc, organised for the Western region. The Win Better Season 1 promo, which started in August, was created to celebrate and reward loyal customers who patronise the Lafarge range of products across Nigeria. Prizes, including generators, fridges, fans, tricycles and cars, were presented to lucky winners who defied the rain to attend the event at the company's branch in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital.
Lafarge Africa plc, a member of the Holcim Group, was incorporated on 24th of February 1959 and listed as a publicly quoted company in Nigeria in 1979. Treating customers as kings is a core value that Lafarge has pursued over the years. Despite the global economic downturn, the company still finds a way to celebrate and encourage its customers. This time it's the Win Better promo, where customers win whatever prize they find in a bag of cement as they open it.
We've had the retailer promo as well. We've also had the distributor engagement that we've done in the past and awards. So for us, we're touching lives from, like I said, from end to end, from the top to the final consumer.
The management of Lafarge Africa plc says the company will not relent in efforts to support, enable, and reward customers for their contribution, commitment, and brand loyalty to the Lafarge brand.
There will be a season 2, a season 3, and we continue to give to our customers as long as we're in business.
As the season 1 promo winds up in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, southwest Nigeria, about 30 persons are awarded various gift items to appreciate their loyalty to the Lafarge brand over the years. About 3,000 different prizes have been set aside for lucky winners across the country.
Anyone who opens a bag of cement, you find something and you call the number on that scratch card. We document you immediately and we action our vendors to supply to you.
The drizzling rain could not hold back these lucky winners, as with unbridled joy and their infectious laughter make this short ceremony at the Lafarge office premises in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, worthwhile. The lucky winners lit up the day with their dance of appreciation, and then the star prize winner is announced.
Mrs. Felicia Olubumi Abeguga! I was built to be the best, number one. And ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know,
this car has boosted my status today, and it will ginger me and give me the zeal to work more for Lafarge.
Lafarge Africa plc, a leading sub-Saharan African building solutions company, a world leader in building solutions and accelerating global green transformation, and actively participating in the urbanization and economic growth of Nigeria.
Now time for some business news. Here's Anne Waldo.
Thank you, Millicent. Hello and welcome to Business News.
The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has cut its forecast for the global economy for next year by 0.2% to 2.7%. That's coming down from July's forecast of 2.9%. In its World Economic Outlook report released today, the Washington-based International Finance Institution says the projection, which is the weakest outlook in the last 2 decades, will stem from 3 major events, including Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the cost of living crisis, and China's economic slowdown. At the same time, the IMF downgraded Nigeria's economic growth projection for this year to 3.2% from 3.4% projected in its July report, while economic growth projection for sub-Saharan Africa is seen lowering from 3.8% to 3.6% due to tighter financial and monetary conditions. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says it posted a cumulative comprehensive loss of 69.03 billion naira in its 2021 financial performance, and that's according to data from its recently released financial statements. The oil firm says the losses were recorded at 3 of Nigeria's refineries, including Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company, Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company, and Port Harcourt Refining Company. At the same time, an analysis of the various financial statements of the 3 refineries indicates that while KRPC reduced its workforce by 105 workers, WRPC also cut down its staff by 113, but there was no mention of staff reduction at PHRC. On the operational performance, the firm says that in 2021, no crude oil was recovered or processed in KRPC due to preparations for the upcoming rehabilitation of that refinery. The governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has received a letter of approval from the construction of the Lekki Airport. The letter, presented to the governor today by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, at the 18th Lagos Economic Summit. Speaking at the end of that event, Governor Sanwo-Olu said the airport project, which is expected to begin in 2023, will open Lagos to more international partnerships talking about the economy and link Nigeria to the world.
For us, it's all about partnership. You can see a real partnership with the federal government through the Ministry of Aviation, but the real beneficiaries are the citizens, are the businesses that we're trying to activate more, and so we're doing business to business and business to business, and that's how you develop economics like this, give them a platform where infrastructure, things that are government, related, give it to them and give them the opportunity for their business to be able to thrive. This infrastructure will reduce journey time, will make Lagos, easily and better accessible, and people can make better, local and international business decisions given all the investment that have happened, in that area. So you can see is a right step in the right direction.
The Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, NECA, has rejected the plan by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning to increase tariff on select products. In a statement by its Director General, Mr. Adewale Oyerinde, NECA condemned the planned proposal by the federal government to increase excise duties on tobacco, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. The body of organized private sector warned that the increase would incapacitate its productive capacity and also the ability to contribute to national development. It adds that the proposed increase, if implemented, will amount to a departure from the recently established roadmap set out in the 2022 fiscal policy measures and tariff amendments, which covers the year 2022 to 2024. We head to the market now. It's a positive start for the domestic market. It resumes from the Muslim holiday with moderate gains. Willie Bong tells us more.
Welcome to the stock market report. It's a strong rebound at the NGX as equities make a post-holiday comeback. It's Bois Cement to the rescue. As the all-share index rose 0.45% in today's trading session, it gained 4.50 Naira in today's trading session, and that kicked the bear to the curb. With Bois Cement up front, we see University Press from the red, leading 13 other decliners to close 8.54% lower. Volume and value are still dancing. It's more like tiptoeing and not hitting expected numbers. But as the markets work their way through the economy, analysts still expect the bear run to continue ahead of Q3 earnings report. But we'll see if this positive performance continues tomorrow. And that's the stock market report. I'm Will Ibang. It's back to you.
That's business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawodo. It's back to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Anne. Leaders of the G7 group of rich nations have said they will back Ukraine for as long as it takes in the wake of Monday's major Russian missile strikes. This is as Ukrainian cities and infrastructure are hit by Russian airstrikes for a second day. Simon Pusey has more of this and other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukrainian cities and infrastructure have been hit by Russian airstrikes for a second day after Monday saw the most widespread attacks for months. The mayor of the western city of Lviv says critical infrastructure has again been hit, causing power blackouts. More footage from yesterday's strikes has been released. Here, Ukraine's emergency service showing what it said was the aftermath of Russian rocket attacks on Zaporizhia. And here, the moment cars and pedestrians narrowly avoided a large explosion in Dnipro, which was captured by a roadside on a dashcam video. The vehicle's window-mounted camera showing a large plume of smoke rising from the immediate horizon before a second huge explosion occurs even closer. And Russia says it continues to launch long-range airstrikes on Ukraine's energy and military infrastructure. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden and the leaders of the other G7 industrialized countries have held an emergency meeting to discuss the situation in Ukraine. The leaders of the US, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and Canada had been joined by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Mr. Zelensky pushed the case for more military assistance. Hong Kong has said it will not seize the super yacht of a Russian oligarch who is under Western sanctions. Chief Executive John Lee said Hong Kong would be accountable to United Nations sanctions, but not unilateral ones imposed by individual jurisdictions. The 521 Russia's President Vladimir Putin and one of the country's richest men. His yacht arrived in Hong Kong last week after sailing from Russia. The billionaire was sanctioned by the US, the UK and the EU after Russia invaded Ukraine earlier this year.
We will comply with any United Nations resolution on sanction because Hong Kong has the legal basis to enforce it, and we will comply with United Nations sanctions. That is our system. That is our rule of law. We cannot do and we will not do anything that has no legal basis.
King Charles has visited an Aberdeenshire village to thank the local community for its support after the death of the Queen. Along with Camilla, the Queen Consort, he attended a reception in Ballater, a few miles from Balmoral, where the Queen died in September. Hundreds of people were involved in the delivery of the events which followed. The King and his wife met riders and horses who lined the route of the Queen's coffin cortege. A 52-year-old Libyan has launched an initiative which aims to clean the waste and garbage that are widespread on the beaches of Libya, hoping to put an end to pollution there. For 13 years, Ali Rukabi has been holding these beach cleanups, which he's dubbed the Sea and the Sun campaign, at the end of every summer. The campaign has gained a huge following over the years, as many people come to comms from across the country to do their part. People, including children, head to the beaches carrying plastic bags and filling them with garbage and rubbish. And finally, a flying two-seater car has soared over Dubai's skyline during GITEX 2022, the city's annual flagship technology event, during a demonstration of the future of travel. Dubai International Chamber hosted the world's first public flight of the pioneering eVTOL flying car X2, designed by Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer XPeng at Skydive Dubai. The X2 emits zero carbon dioxide and is designed with low-altitude city capabilities in mind, with a maximum flight speed of 130 kilometers per hour. After taking off in Dubai, the unmanned vehicle completed its historic 90-minute test flight, soaring above a crowd of spectators who gathered to witness a new era of short-haul flights. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Giants of Africa have kept to its promise on the development of basketball in Nigeria through the provision of facilities for schools. Well, as part of its plans to build 100 basketball courts in Africa, the organization earlier today unveiled a playing facility at Egon Secondary School in Igondo in Lagos State. Well, the organization had already donated similar facilities to Gaskia College in Badia Ijora and Ijigbo Mini Stadium to help young basketballers deploy their skills and talents.
We plan on running tournaments in all the courts that we're building, like this court now. We're going to partner with an academy in the community around the court to use the facility, thereby encouraging the kids around the area to come use the facility as well, get them interested in playing basketball. The next phase of court building is going to be outside Lagos. Okay, we're going to go to other places, other states to build courts, part of the 100 Courts initiative.
Nigeria's women under-17 team, the Flamingos, this evening suffered a 2-1 loss to Germany in their opening Group B match at the 7th edition of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup holding in India. Miracle Lusane got the opening goal for the Flamingos on the 30th minute of the first half, while the Germans rallied back in the second half with goals from Sveo Stolt and Mara Alba in the 49th and 61st minute of the second half. Well, earlier, Chile defeated New Zealand 3-1 in another Group B clash. The United States thrashed host India by 8 unreplied goals in a Group A fixture. Well, the Flamingos will return to action on Friday against Chile in their second Group B fixture, while Germany take on New Zealand. In the UEFA Champions League, goals from Jorginho and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang secured a 2-0 victory for Chelsea over 10-man AC Milan at San Siro. Fikayo Tomori got a red card for the Rossoneri. Well, in other games, Dinamo Zagreb played a 1-0 draw with Salzburg. Leipzig defeated Celtic. And, of course, 10-man Manchester City and FC Copenhagen settled for a goalless draw. Juventus lost to Maccabi Haifa by 2-0, while Real Madrid secured a 1-0 draw at Shakhtar Donetsk. And that's a wrap on Sports News. I'm Ayotunde Balogun.
And the main news again. Eminent personalities, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, today challenged the country's elite to chart a path for Nigeria's growth and development. They spoke at a conference organized by the Igimokode Foundation in Lagos. Also today, the Independent National Electoral Commission deleted 2.7 million invalid registered voters from its register. Chairman of the commission, who spoke in Washington, D.C., vowed to take every step necessary to protect the integrity of the voter register. Also today, the federal government conferred national honors on 450 Nigerians and Friends of Nigeria for their contribution to the country's development. President Muhammadu Buhari urged the awardees to continue to do their best towards the development of the country. That's News at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Melissa Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.